Another day, another brand new dual cab ute for Australia. This is the SsangYong Musso, and it's here to shake things up at the budget end of the segment, or so we expect. SsangYong Australia hasn't announced its plans for pricing, specs, or any of the important things like ownership just yet, but we can expect a price tag that will rival the lower end of the well-known brands. In Korea, they call the Musso an open SUV rather than a ute, and that makes sense because it's based off the Rexton SUV. And while we're driving the short version today, which has coil spring rear suspension, there will be a longer version with a bigger tray that'll have leaf springs or coil springs depending on what your preference is. It's powered by a 2.2 litre 4-cylinder turbo diesel engine with 133 kilowatts and 400 newton meters of torque. Now, that's not a class-leading number in terms of pulling power, but it does do a good job. It's got good refinement and it pulls along pretty well, although we don't have any weight in the tray today. The engine does exhibit just a little bit of lag when you're taking off from a standstill, but once you're moving, it does a pretty good job of keeping things going nicely. Shifting gears is a 6-speed automatic from Asen, which is an Asian transmission company, and it does generally a pretty good job of things. It harnesses the power because there's not a huge amount of power there, but it does a good job to help you stay in the rev range where you need to be in order to use the torque that you've got. The test vehicle we're in has a lift kit and it has aftermarket wheels and tyres, and it's pretty much not what we're going to get in Australia. So it's hard to say what the actual behaviour of the car is like, given that it's not what we're going to see. But on the surface, it seems like a fairly good thing. The steering's nice and light, which makes it feel fairly city friendly. And also, it's quiet in here. Apparently, Pininfarina has helped out with making it feel very luxurious in here, and it's, well, not maybe luxurious, but it's definitely quieter than a lot of utes out there. This version has a selectable 4-wheel drive system, so you've got 2 high, like we're in now, 4 high for when things are unsealed underneath you, and then 4 low for when things get really serious. Yeah, a proper low range transfer case, which is really good. Some utes don't have that. Plus, there's also hill descent control and a surround view camera and plenty of other safety kit. Here's a rundown. SsangYong has not yet confirmed what it will fit to the Musso, but there is available auto emergency braking, lane departure warning, rear cross traffic alert, and the Musso comes with 6 airbags, including rear seat protection. So it could offer a very impressive safety package if the brand wants that. Now, what about interior fit and finish? I'm not sure that there's any ute in the segment, be it at 35 grand or 65 grand, that can quite match the SsangYong Musso's interior feel, because it feels like an SUV. Obviously, being based off the Rexton SUV has a lot to do with that, but you sit in here and it doesn't feel like a cheap ute, which is a big bonus for SsangYong. The seats are really comfortable, good contours and good support, and there's good adjustability as well, so anyone of any size should be able to get comfortable fairly easily. There's all the things that you'd expect: a pair of cup holders up front, a big covered centre bin, and yeah, a little bit of storage in front of the shifter, but not a huge amount, but that's not unusual for the ute segment. There's a little dash top bin as well, plus big bottle holders in the doors. It's pretty well thought out in here. And there's that big media screen, which looks really good. Ours will have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is a bonus. Plus you'll get the usual stuff like Bluetooth phone and audio streaming, and there's USB and auxiliary ports. The digital dashboard in front of the driver is crisp and clear, better than anything else that I've driven in the ute segment, I think. And it's a really nice feeling cabin up front. So what about the back? You do sit up quite high in the back of the Musso, and if you're a smaller person, you will need to use those step rails along the side. But I'm not a smaller person, I'm 6 foot tall, and I can sit behind my own driving position really comfortably. I've got plenty of knee room and toe room and headroom. This is a very spacious ute, more spacious than pretty much any of the mainstream utes out there. Plus, they've thought of the little things. There's rear seat air vents, there's dual map pocket holders, there's a flip down armrest with cup holders in it, and there's bottle holders in the doors. This is a very thoughtful cabin. One thing they haven't thought about though is the design of the back doors. I'll just show you what I'm talking about. This little part here is bad design. Let me show you why. It looks good when it's shut, but when it's open, it's very easy to catch your elbow on or catch your arm on as you're getting out, or your shoulder or your head if you're a child. Not very well done. And the tray isn't the best design for a ute either. There are some smart elements like the slide out drawer offered in Korea, but it is tall and shallow with a depth of just 1300 mils. However, a longer version is coming, which will be better than most of the mainstream competitors in terms of size. So should you buy a SsangYong Musso? Well, that will depend on how it's priced and how it's positioned in the market. If it's affordable, then yeah, it'll be one of the better options out there. If it's too expensive, it could be a deal breaker. We'll have to wait and see. Stay tuned.